Welcome in to another tutorial. Today I'm going to be using Scapier's Katona, which is a 4-ply. Now I'd ordinarily, with a tutorial, I'd be using my thicker chunky stuff, but these are needed for this particular thing because we're doing an applique. Now I've got two colours just so you can differentiate, but I'm going to show you how to make 5 simple flowers, varying sizes, or one a little bit more elaborate. How you interpret the elaborateness is down to you and your project. So I'm going to start with the purple. And you want to start with a magic ring. Now, I do this every now and again with the magic ring. If you can't work the magic ring, I will put a tutorial down below to help you out. And hopefully you'll get it. Oops, come on through. There we go. Once you have your ring, we're going to be making a small flower to start. So in here we want to do 4 simple single crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3 and 4. When you have your 4th, pull your tail of your magic ring, find your first stitch that you did and do a slip stitch into it. Like so. Give the tail another little pull. And there we have 1, 2, 3 and 4 stitches in a magic ring. From here, we're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and then we are going to do a double crochet into that first stitch, like so, and another one into that same stitch. Oops. And then we're going to do a half double into the same stitch. And to finish that off, into the same stitch, do a slip stitch. And there we have 1 petal, which will become clear in a moment. As soon as you've done your slip stitch, you want to do another chain of 2, and into the very next stitch, 2 more double crochets. So there's 1. And 2, a half double crochet into the same stitch, and finish with a slip stitch into that same stitch. Now you have 2 petals. Let's do 2 more. Chain 2 into the next stitch, 2 doubles, 1 and 2, a half double, and finish that petal with a slip stitch. There's 3. Let's finish this flower off. Chain 2 into the next stitch, 2 doubles, 1, 2, and a half double, and finish with a slip stitch. And from that point, if you want to just double check it, as it were, double close it, do another slip stitch into the closest stitch you can, and there you have your first flower. So from here we just cut it off, pull that through to fasten it, pull it nice and tight, and there you have your small flower. Let's make the next one. I'll move on to the yellow. This is purely so that you can see the difference with the petals. Again, we're going to start with a magic ring. Always remember with your magic ring to do a slip stitch just to get started. And then as soon as you have your ring ready, you are going to do another 4 single crochets into this ring. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. As before, pull on your tail, slip stitch into that very first single crochet that you did, give the tail another little pull just to make sure, and we're all good. So from here we're going to chain 1, and then in each of the 4 stitches around we're going to do 2 single crochets. 1 and 2 into the same, 1 and 2 into the next, and move over to the next stitch along, another 2, and into the last unworked stitch, oops, another 2. So now you should have a total of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And into the top of that very first one that you did, you're going to slip stitch. Okay. From here, we're going to chain 2. In that very same stitch at the bottom of your chain, you want to do a double into there. So 1 double into the same stitch that you've just done the chain from. Into the next stitch, a double crochet. A half double crochet, and a slip stitch. Petal number 1. Next petal, chain 2. Into the next stitch, 1 double crochet. Into the next, you're going to do a double crochet, a half double crochet and a slip stitch, 2 petals, chain 2, into the next stitch, 1 double, into the next stitch we're going to do 1 double, 1 half double and a slip stitch, 3 petals. We need to do 1 more, so chain 2, double crochet into the next stitch, move over to the next stitch and put in 1 double crochet, 1 half double crochet, whoops, I was getting carried away with my doubles, and then finish with a slip stitch into that same stitch. And then again, if you want to go into the next one, just to do 1 more slip stitch and definitely secure that down, you go for it. And there we have our next flower level. So there's the 2 for comparison. So now we're going to grab the purple again. And once again, we're going to do a magic ring. Make sure you slip stitch to secure it. And then into that ring, you know what's going on. We're doing 4 single crochets into that ring. Make sure you always go over your tail as well as the ring. You don't want to miss it out. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Pull that a little bit together and then go and do a slip stitch into that first single crochet that you've just done. And if you need to, use your hook the other way around to get into that stitch, because sometimes it can be a little bit fiddly. There we go. And we are going to chain 1. Then in each of the stitches, we're going to do 2 single crochets into each one. So there's 1 and 2. Into the next, 1 and 2, into the next, 1 and 2, and into the last one, your last 2 single crochets. So again, you should have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And in the top of that first one, you're going to do a slip stitch. Oops, tail's in the way again. Okay. So from here, we're going to chain 1. If I get my tail out the way, there we go. chain 1, and then we're going to do 2 double crochets, 2 single crochets into the first stitch, 1 and 2, 1 single crochet into the next, 2 single crochets into the next, 1 single crochet into the next, 2 single crochets into the next. And if you're ever confused at how many you're doing, you will have 12 at the end of this. So if I just do this one and then I'll show you. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I need to do 11 and 12. And slip stitch into that very first one that you did. And let's double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. No, we missed one. I forgot that stitch. We need to do one in the last stitch. Oh my gosh, Lisa. It's a good job to count all the time. So here we go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. Perfect. Okay, from here we're going to chain 2. And we're going to double crochet into the bottom of that chain, into the very same space for a double crochet. Into the next stitch, a double crochet. And a triple crochet goes into the same stitch. And one more double into that same stitch. Then into the next stitch, a half double crochet, followed by a slip stitch in that same stitch. And there we have one petal. So let's do the next one. Chain 2. Double crochet into the next stitch, into the next stitch, do another double, followed by a treble, followed by another double, and then into the next stitch, a half double, and finish that petal off with the slip stitch into the same stitch as your half double. And there you have, not a mouse, no, 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 no. We have half a flower. So let's chain 2. Into the next stitch, a double crochet, into the next, a double, and a treble, and another double, into the next stitch, do 1/2 double crochet, and in that very same stitch close it off with a slip stitch. Now I have 3 petals. Let's finish that last petal. Chain 2, double crochet into the next stitch, into the next stitch, start with a double, then do a treble, followed by another double into that same stitch, and in the very next stitch 1/2 double followed by a slip stitch. Again, if you wish to do an extra secure, you can go into the next stitch and fasten off. So there's our next. So let's go back to the yellow to make the last flower. Anyone know how we're going to start? I bet you do by now. I don't know why I always do this with the tail. It's not necessary, but I do it every single time. Pure habit. Let's do that again. There we go. Slip stitch to secure. Just open that up a little bit. There we go. So 4 single crochets go into that ring. Make sure you cover the tail up. 1, 2, 3, oops, and 4. Pull on your tail and slip stitch into the very first single crochet you made. These flowers are great for scrap yarn, just to put an added embellishment onto a hat or a scarf, a cowl, a dress, make a brooch even. You have the imagination. So we have 1, 2, 3 and 4. From here we're going to chain 1 and do a single crochet into the next, followed by another one into the same stitch, and for each of the 4 single crochets around you're going to put 2 single crochets. Two more. Oops. So you should have 8 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Into that first one you want to slip stitch to close the round, and from here we're going to chain 1. In the first stitch 2 single crochets, into the next 1 single crochet, into the next 2 single crochets. So we've now got 5, 1 into the next, 6, 2 into the next, 7, 8, 1 into the next, 2 into the next, and 1 into the last. which should give you 12 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Slip stitch into the top of that first single crochet and then chain 1. Okay, let's do one more increase round. So from here we're going to do 2 single crochets into the first, 1 and 2, 1 into the next, 1 into the next, 2 into the next, 1 into the next, 1 into the next, 2 into the next, 1 into the next, 1 into the next, 2 into the next, 1 into the next, and end with 1 into the last, which should be 16 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Into the top of that very first one, do a slip stitch, and let's start making some petals. We're going to chain 2, and into that same stitch underneath the chain we're going to place 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. Into the next stitch 2 treble crochets, into the next stitch 2 doubles, and into the next half double followed by a slip stitch to finish the petal. So there's 1. So let's do the next. We're going to chain 2, 2 doubles into the next. Out of the way, Mr. Tail, thank you. 1 and 2. Into the next stitch 2 trebles, into the next stitch 2 doubles, and into the next 1 half double followed by a slip stitch. And I'm only use American terms. I could use English terms, but it's US terms that I use for all my tutorials. I learnt with English, and when I came away from crochet and came back again, I relearnt with US terms, and I find US terms a lot easier. I understand UK terms, but US terms seems to be more widely used. Stop the rabbit in, Lisa, and chain 2. In the next stitch 2 doubles, in the next 2 treble, In the next stitch, 2 doubles, in the next stitch, 1 half double and a slip stitch to close the petal. Let's finish off 1 more, chain 2 and 2 double crochets into the very next stitch. 2 treble into the next, into your next stitch, 2 doubles, and lastly into the very last stitch, 1 half double and a slip stitch to finish off. And I always go into the base of the next one with another slip stitch just to double ensure. There we go. Fasten it off. Put the yellow away. Now I won't weave the ends in on here, but I will show you. You have your 4 flowers. You can have either of them on their own, or you could put a mix and match of a couple together. Or maybe even, if you want something a little bit bolder, put all of them together on one. Yes, I know it'd look far, far better if I weaved in the ends first. I know. Just showing you a possibility. There we have almost like a Tudor rose. How big you make the sandwich of flowers is up to you. And remember, of course, you can keep them individual as well. One thing I would recommend as a personal little touch, maybe put a bead in the centre of the flowers. Not only will that help you to attach it to whatever you want to attach it to, but it'll also give an extra little statement piece. Either way, there you have 4 flowers making up one. Hope it was good. I hope you got through it okay. If you did, please don't forget to give a thumbs up and maybe subscribe if you're willing down below. Any thanks that come through of £5 or over will go on to the super wheel to be spun at the end of the month to win a cash or woolly prize. Hopefully, I'll see you next week with another stitch tutorial. Take care. Bye-bye.